Welcome to a Speedway meeting that should prove to be between the new British League champions, Cradley, and the reigning champions, Reading. Reading aren't having a good season this time. They're halfway in the table and they haven't won for 11 league matches. In contrast, Cradley have only lost one of their 17 matches this season under their new promoter, Peter Adams. He has an amazing record because he was manager of Coventry for 3 seasons and they won the league title twice then. And featured in Heat 1, the brilliant American and captain of Cradley, Bruce Pennell, who heads the National Riders' Averages. Well, it's ironic that our commentator tonight is the man who, as promoter, took Reading to that league title last season, Dave Lanning.
Well, Heat 1, and they could hardly come bigger than this. We've got Bruce Pennell on the inside, number 1 in the British League averages, 11.08, and Jan Anderson on the outside, who's right behind him, on 10.40 in the averages. They're the numbers 1 and 2 in the business at the moment. In fact, Pennell has changed gate position. We notice, in fact, it's Bent Rasmussen on the inside in blue. Next to him, Ashley Pullen. Grid 3 has Pennell. That's a switch. He's switched gates to get out on the outside grids there with Anderson, his main rival in heat number 1. Pennell hasn't been beaten for Cradley since July the 19th. 6 matches, and away they go. And it's from the inside there, Rasmussen who gets away. There's a surprise. Anderson's in 2nd place, and Pennell's back in 3rd place, and Anderson has moved up. And it was a pretty torrid start there, and Pennell it was who got the chop as Anderson gets clear. Well, maybe we shouldn't have mentioned that Bruce Pennell is currently enjoying a very long unbeaten run for the Heathens, because Anderson at the gate, Rasmussen has moved over to let his more illustrious teammate go through, but I think Pennell's got a lot of work to do now. Jan Anderson, of course, Sweden's number 1 and world finalist at Wembley. He finished joint 5th last year. And it looks like he is going to record a very memorable victory over Bruce Pennell, the home skipper. There's Anderson, made the start, and Pennell moving up into 2nd place in lap 2, just couldn't catch him. Over the line, a win for Anderson. 2nd was Pennell, 3rd was Bent Rasmussen. Points divided in Heat 1.
Bruce Pennell, not a good start for you. What happened?
Well, actually, Jan and I both lifted out of the start, and he just happened to get it down a little sooner than I did, and he came across on me and just gave me a little elbow, but it was a little bit hard for me to catch up after that. You know, I was pretty well history after that, but, you know, it's just one of those things where we both lifted, and he got down a little sooner than I did and was able to cut across. You know, it was fair. I would have probably done the same to him, so it's just hard lines, really.
So you're going to have your work cut out in this meeting then, overall?
Yeah, it looks like it. You know, Jan's going very well, and I know Bobby Schwartz will go well. I just hope we can pull it together. I think the bottom part of our team's going to be the one that's going to decide. You know, I think we can do it.
So the reserves race, the bottom end of the side. Let's have a look at the lineup on the grid on the inside. It's going to be Denny Pyatt, first season American with Reading. He'll be in the yellow and black helmet colour. Next to him, John McNeil in red. Grid 3 has Ian Gledhill on loan to the racers from National League Mildenhall. And on the outside, David Shields, such a match winner for the Heathens at Coventry. Indeed, all their side were match winners that night. Heat 2, the points divided 3 to each team after Heat 1. And this race, I'm sure, will give us a sign of what's to come, because the reserve berth so very vital. If Reading can gain some points here, then the Heathens really have a battle on. Here we go for Heat 2. And as they get to the corner from the outside, it is Shields, and from the inside it is McNeil, and it's Cradley 1-2 at the moment, with in 3rd place Ian Gledhill, but a tremendous start from the outside from David Shields. 2nd place is John McNeil. The 2 Aussies up front for the Heathens. Well, we just saw Pyatt moving into 3rd place at the rear end of heat number 2. And Cradley looking well set. And Shields, who seems to reserve his best performances for television visits for the Heathens, is really stretching them here. And Pyatt is now making a bit of ground on John McNeil for that 2nd place. We're into the last lap, of course. All of the 13 races in the league match are over 4 laps. It's 338 metres around this Cradley circuit. And Pyatt is making a little bit of an effort on the back wheel of McNeil. Shields is going to win it. Impressive win from him. Second place, John McNeil. Third was Pyatt. Maximum heat win for the Heathens, 5-1. 8-4 progressively. They now have their noses in front. Well, we're moving up to heat number 3, and if the statistically minded among you care to calculate if the current averages count for anything, then Cradley really should walk this one, because the combined averages of their pair, that's Phil Collins in red and Alan Graham in blue, amass to 16.63. The Reading pairing, there's the score, 8-4. The Reading pairing, Bernie Lee and their new signing, Polish international Andrzej Huska, have a total average of 12.35. So a very, very well-balanced pairing for the Heathens. Both England internationals. Bernie Lee, bit of a veteran these days, Bernie. 36 years old, grand old servant for the Reading club. And their newest acquisition, Andrzej Huska. It looks like the Cradley pairing have switched around on the grid again. So it's going to be on the inside, Alan Graham. Then next to him, Andrzej Huska, the Pole who Leicester fans will remember doing some notable things in their colours last year, has subsequently joined Hackney and is now down there at Reading. He's in grid 2. Grid 3 has Phil Collins in red, and on the outside, Bernie Lee in the white helmet colour, the captain of the reigning league champion. So here we go, heat 3. Cradley, remember, 8-4 up after the first 2 races. And from the inside, it is Graham, and in second place, bursting through. I thought Collins was going to make it, but in fact it's Bernie Lee in second place. So at the moment it's Cradley first and third, with Graham looking back for his partner Phil Collins. Collins must try to find a hole past Lee. And he's trying the inside run, and it's getting a little bit tight there. That battle for second place, they're not giving much away. There is Alan Graham in front. Now Collins tries the outside. And this time, I think he is going to go by. So Phil Collins, the rider in red, providing all the excitement here in heat 3. Graham's in front there, riding quite beautifully. Second place, Phil Collins for Cradley. Really are in a rampaging mood again. And Collins tried the inside run for a couple of laps, found that path blocked by Lee, switched outside, and really it was all over from that point. Looks like another maximum heat win for Cradley in heat 3. Over the line, a win for Graham. Second place, Collins. Third, an awfully long way back, Bernie Lee. So now Cradley really getting their fingers around the throat of this match. 13-5 they lead. And so the Warriors prepare for heat 4, and coming in for Reading here, one of their match winners, Bobby Schwartz, a former Heathen there in the white helmet colour scene, just getting a pat on the head from his old-time chum from America, Bruce Pennell. Nice picture there. Great friends and rivals, these two, and indeed the reigning World Pairs champions. But that just shows that, well, there's a lot of good-natured rivalry in Speedway. Heat 4, and it must be said that Cradley probably enjoyed meeting Reading. A couple of years ago, the Heathens inflicted Reading their heaviest home reverse, 46-32. That was in 1979. And last year, Reading in their championship year sustained their heaviest defeat of the season here at Dudley Wood, losing by the same score. Must be said that that was the day before they clinched the league championship with a win over Wolverhampton, who sadly no longer part of British League Speedway, although plugging away gamely in the National League. The Heathens, of course, under new promoter Peter Adams, what a season he's having here, has calculated that providing they lose and do nothing silly at home, they really need to only win 3 of their remaining 8 away fixtures to clinch their first ever British League championship. That should be quite a day, and it must be said they're odds-on favourites now. Let's have a look at heat 4. They've got Bobby Schwartz to contend with. He's on the inside in the white helmet colour, former Heathen. Scored a 21-point maximum here for Reading in a cup match last year. Next to him, John McNeil had a second place first time out in heat 2. Grid 3 has Denny Pyatt on the outside. The flying Dane Eric Gunderson in the red helmet colour for Cradley. Heat 4. And up to the first corner, it's Schwartz who shows in front of though. Gunderson makes a tremendous swoop around the outside. Gunderson leads it. Second place is Schwartz. Third is John McNeil. And that really was another devastating first couple of bends from Eric Gunderson. Gunderson, of course, a member of the Danish World Cup winning squad in Munich, Olching Munich. Last year we saw that one on ITV. He was in tremendous form. Begin to tighten up for second place with Schwartz, I think, slowing back to try and help partner Denny Pyatt in a battle for that odd point with John McNeil. There is the battle for the minor placings, and Schwartz looks to me, here's Gunderson, as though he's slowing things up to try and help Pyatt, but they're into the last lap. I don't think those tracks are going to play, though. Pyatt can spot a hole there. McNeil overcooked the corner. This is Gunderson, a long way in front, but Pyatt, who worked awfully hard, has come into third place. Over the line, win for Gunderson. Second place is Schwartz, third is Pyatt, and at the back, John McNeil, who was under a fair bit of pressure from the Reading pair.
Eric, first of all, marvellous gating start from you once again.
I missed the gate a little bit, you know, but it just seems to be a bit of dirt on the outside, and just sort of put around Bobby, you know. And when I first got in front, you know, I kept that.
Well, it looked a good start. You take us through it.
Yeah, you see there, I go on the outside there, and I just hit the dirt there, and I just pull past Bobby there, you know, and get a good run down there. So, and from then on, yeah, I just led all the way.
Yeah, it was all over then.
Yeah.
What about your injury? You had a very bad injury in midweek. What's the situation on that?
Well, I stretched some ligaments in my ankle, you know. At Ipswich, I came off in my first heat, and I couldn't ride more on that night.
Any reaction tonight?
No, not at all. I can feel a little bit in my toes, you know, but I'm okay.
It's difficult to feel anything but elation with Cradley these days. You seem to be walking away with this now.
Well, I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. Hope so, certainly.
Eric, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
This is Ashley Pullen, who created a little bit of history last year because he received a league winners medal with Reading in the British League, and also won at his lone base, that was Rye House, in the National League. He's in Heat 5 with, of course, his formidable partner Jan Andersen, who earlier we saw inflict a very rare defeat on Bruce Pennell. There is the score. You can see Cradley already 8 points up with 4 races completed. The lineup for Heat 5: on the inside, Alan Graham. Next to him we have Ashley Pullen. Grid 3 has Phil Collins, and on the outside, this very, very fast starting Swede, Jan Andersen. Remember, of course, the acceleration, something like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds on these 500cc's. Here we go for Heat 5. And again, it's Andersen. Oh, what a flying start for the Swede. Andersen leads it. Second is Graham. Third is Phil Collins. But this Viking invader really does hit those traps. And Graham is right up on his back wheel. But Andersen doesn't normally make mistakes, although he's just done one there. That was incredible. Andersen normally rides an immaculate line and couldn't have been aware that Graham was there. And Graham attacked him around the inside, and now he's got Phil Collins right on his back wheel, who loves to try the outside run. Really remarkable. And Alan Graham again is in a fighting, tenacious mood, and so too is his partner Phil Collins, because he's really up on the back wheel of Andersen, who was caught sleeping about this point on the second lap. I think he's going to make the same mistake twice, though. Fine win from Graham, providing anything silly does not happen. Over the line, 3 points for him. Andersen in second place. Third was Phil Collins. 4-2 heated win for the Heathens. There's Graham. He's in marvellous form, and he really did catch Andersen a little asleep there. Really was a surprise, but a fine win from the Heathen.
Alan Graham, when Jan Andersen starts so well, normally people don't overtake him. You're not allowed to do things like that. Well, you're allowed to do them, but you're not meant to do them, expected to do them. What happened?
I lifted a little bit at the start, and Jan beat me out at the start, which put me in second place. And I was on his back wheel on the first lap, and I knew that if I could keep up with him. There's no way I could let him pull out a lead, because if he pulled out a lead, I'd had it. I'd get a keep on the inside where the drive was. As it's right on his back wheel coming down the straight, leaving him, you know, nuts through, and dives through on the inside here. He's just a bit off the line, and halfway around the corner, pick up the drive, just picking up the drive there. It's just off the line, I'm through on the inside, and I didn't, you know, I just pulled away then. That was it.
Doesn't happen very often against that fellow, though, does it?
No, well, he's a world finalist, and he's going well this season. But
not as well as Cradley are overall. What's it like riding in this team this season?
The atmosphere is great. We've got a good squad, strength in depth, which is what you need. And we're up there at the top of the league, and I don't think we're going to let it slip now. Determination is set in, and we're out there to win the title.
Has to be riding like that. Well done, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Heat 6, and the Reading team manager Mick Bell, with his team 10 points in arrears, pulls in reserve Denny Pyatt. There is the score. Cradley comfortably ensconced in a 10-point lead after 5 races. Denny Pyatt comes in as a replacement for Ian Gledhill, and that means we've got 3 Americans in heat number 6. Bruce Pennell on the outside there, second place first time out, fought a little surprisingly by Jan Andersen. Then Pyatt will be in grid 3. The Danish acquisition from Kings Lynn for Cradley, that's Bent Rasmussen, will be in grid 2, and Bobby Schwartz on the inside in the white helmet colour. And although Schwartz and Pennell are the greatest of chums, in fact they lived together over here for a couple of seasons, there'll be no love lost once these tapes go up. They just love to knock large lumps off each other. So let's watch heat 6 and watch for the riders from the inside and the outside. Well, it's Pennell who's got away. Pennell's made a flying start. Second place is Schwartz. Third is Rasmussen, and Pyatt, the reserve, who came in as a replacement, at the back. And Pennell, having made a mistake at the start of his first ride, doesn't look like he's going to make many more. Again, Schwartz is looking over his shoulder for his younger partner. There is Pennell. It's the style, the flair, the mastery of the man who really must now be the favourite for the World Individual Championship. Could be a real vintage year for Bruce Pennell, America, and Cradley Heath. And Pyatt at the back there again, looks like he might force his way into third place. That's where all the action is. This is Pennell looking over his shoulder, and we can see once again Denny Pyatt has forced his way up into third place. What crap with this lad, but there's no catching Bruce Pennell. Absolutely immaculate, in control. Bruce Lee Pennell giving them the job here in heat 6. Second place with Schwartz, a long way back. Pyatt again did well to get up for the odd point. Shared the heat, means Cradley still lead by 10 points, 23 progressively to Reading's 13. Heat 7, and the reigning league champions Reading use a tactical substitute. There he is, Jan Andersen, just being pushed off for the Pole, Andres Husker. Bernie Lee in white for the racers, and his partner will be the flying Swede Jan Andersen here in heat 7. There's the score after 7 heats, just about halfway through this British League match, and the racers now bring in a tactical substitution. That's Jan Andersen on the outside. They can do that on one occasion, bring in a starman to replace a rider deemed to be off form. There is the lineup for heat 7. McNeil on the inside for Cradley. Bernie Lee, grid 2. Eric Gunderson, a race winner first time out, in grid 3 in red, and on the outside Andersen with a winner second place. 23-13 the score. Can Reading possibly stage a comeback? Here we go for heat 7. And it's Gunderson, although he had an awful lot of trouble controlling that one. Gunderson leads it, Andersen is second. Third place is John McNeil. Really was a fine example of machine control by Eric Gunderson there, because it looked like he lost control, certainly of his front wheel, running up to the first corner. Down on the bottom corner, we have lost Bernie Lee, who slid off, so only 3 runners now. There's Gunderson leading it. Second place is Andersen. A good lot old way third is John McNeil. I wonder if this is an indication of world final form. Anderson, one of the dark horses for the world title. He has ridden in a couple of world finals before. Gunderson in his first world final. I reckon to be one of the great spoilers. Good outside bet if he can just keep the old nerves on the big night with 90,000 people pouring their heads off. It's a bit nerve-wracking for a young man. Here he's over the line. Gunderson, good winner of Heat 7. Anderson is second. And just a Viking nod of approval, but that pushes Cradley even further in front. And it looks like Gunderson has got a puncher right at the last minute. I think he got that puncher as he went over the line, so a little bit of good fortune for the Heathens and for Eric Gunderson. Had that gone when he was going at, what, 60 miles an hour, he might well have had a bit of trouble hanging on.
Jan Anderson, and third in blue, John McNeil. The winning time again, 64.1. The full lineup, riding for the Heathens in red.
Well, we'll be right back with you with some more thrilling speedway action from Cradley Heath in just a couple of minutes. And some activity in the Cradley corner of the pits. Gunderson, a puncher last time out, has the assistance of Bruce Pennell and his mechanic, and it looks to me as though they might just be changing gear. Of course, these machines have a fixed gearing, and it might just be a little bit grippier out there than they thought, and they maybe just changed to a more appropriate gear. You can see the tyre there you can see the tyre very clearly has been cut. There's the spoiler disc going on now. They've just readjusted the pressure. It's about tyre pressure of about 10, 15 maybe. The spoiler disc they're just fitting is supposedly to cut over drift on the broadside. So I just think it's a little bit ornamental, but the riders love to have them, and it's a good place to put your commercial advertising material. Heat number 8, and the racers who really have their backs to the wall now bring in another tactical substitute. Really, it must be said, probably their last throw, certainly with their big guns. Anderson's already had a tactical substitution right now. It's Bobby Schwartz. He'll be in white. So the lineup with the score at 27.15. There's Schwartz, the joker in the pack, coming in Heat 8. Schwartz will be on the inside. Grid 2 will have Ben Rasmussen. Hyatt on the outside. In fact, the Reading pairing have changed grid positions, and David Shields, they are allowed to do this. David Shields will be on the outside, and I think you'll probably find that Schwartz, a great team man, will look for a partner Hyatt here, or try to push him up front, and then guard him like a sheepdog from the ravages of the Cradley pairing. That's the way it might go, but of course David Shields, who can start very quickly, could change all that. Heat 8. And it is Schwartz who shows in front with the Cradley pairing breathing right down his neck. Schwartz in front. Second place is Shields. Third is Rasmussen, and Hyatt again is going to have to work harder, though. He overtook the bottom turn there, almost went through the fence, managed to recover. It's a lot of work to do, a lot of ground to make up now. So Schwartz now is aware that his partner didn't make the break, and I think he'll kick for home. It's a battle for the third point, with Rasmussen again under some pressure from Pyatt, a fiery American. This is another explosive Californian. Bobby Schwartz in front. Now into the last lap. There's the leader, former Heathens, started his career over here. Looking back as the battle is joined for third place. I don't think anybody is going to catch Bobby Schwartz, but what about that third place point? As Pyatt, again, it's going to get up just on the line. Oh, there's Schwartz who won it. But all the real action was at the back there for the odd point, and again it was Pyatt who got up, and that's Reading's first race heat advantage of the evening. A 4-2 for them makes the scores 29-19 progressively. This is Ian Gledhill coming into Heat 9 from Leamington Spa, so he's a Midland lad. Started his career with the Reading Racers as a junior, moved on up to Stoke, and subsequently transferred to Mildenhall. He's back with the Racers now on a loan agreement, replacing the desperately unlucky Tony Briggs, who sustained serious neck injuries. Tony's such an integral part of Racers' championship winning squad. Tony currently making a recovery in a special unit in Oswestry, and every Speedway fan will be wishing him well. Schwartz, as always, a gritty competitor for the Racers. Had a marvellous patch last year when he went unbeaten for 4 or 5 meetings, but hasn't quite recaptured that purple this year. There's the score, Cradley 10 in front. This is Heat 9. And unless they can produce something out of the hat, the Racers have no big gun tactical subs left to pull, with both Schwartz and Anderson having completed their extra ride. Of course, now that they are 6 adrift, they can take their choice of gates, and in case any of you are wondering why they always seem to have the inside, once a team is 6 points in arrears after Heat 4, they can take choice of gates 1 and 3. There will be the lineup. Bobby Schwartz on the inside, 2 seconds, and Reading's only race winner of the night, apart from Anderson in Heat 1. He'll be on the inside. Alan Graham, 2 tremendous wins, both from the back. He is in grid 2. Ian Gledhill, no score so far in grid 3, and Phil Collins, as always, not a fast starter. He's had to find the holes and the gaps through from the back. Phil Collins, of course, one of the great Collins racing clan from Cheshire. £15,000 buy for the Heathens, but he's a big favourite here. This is Heat 9. Schwartz on the inside. Graham unbeaten thus far, grid 2. In grid 3, Gledhill on the outside. Phil Collins. Here we go. And again, it is Schwartz who gets to the corner in front. Second place is Graham. Third is Phil Collins, and Bobby Schwartz again. Then a picture start. Graham get up, just look at that picture there, as both the Heathens close on Schwartz, and Graham made his move against Anderson about here in his last ride, but Schwartz is aware of him, and he is going for his life. Lap 3, and Graham this time tries the outside run, now swings back. And Schwartz seems to have eyes in the back of his crash helmet at the moment. Of course, he knows every inch of this Dudley Wood track, as again Graham tries the outside run and has swings by. Tremendous. Really, Alan Graham is in vintage form, and now here comes Phil Collins, and he will try the outside run. Or will he go inside? He's switched back. And he's just left his run a little too late. Great win again for Graham. Second place Schwartz. Third was Phil Collins, and Alan Graham a little perhaps overshadowed in this Cradley side by the likes of Pennell and Gunderson, the big glamour boys, but he really has given tremendous value here in this fixture. Well, that really was a race well worth having another look at right from the start. It is Schwartz who gets away from the inside, as Phil Collins in trouble on the outside, which left his partner Alan Graham with the work to do he moves into second place. But Bobby Schwartz, of course, the rider who knows every inch of his way around this Dudley Wood circuit, gets in front and then looks as though he's going to kick for home. Graham, though, has different ideas. Phil Collins moves up onto his back wheel. We get a fabulous picture of the two Heathens really buzzing on Bobby Schwartz's back wheel here. But Schwartz, with his nose in front, is a difficult customer to dislodge. Graham, remember, in the blue helmet colour. Phil Collins is in the red helmet colour. And Schwartz here leading and looking pretty well composed despite all the activity around his exhaust pipe. Graham had tried the inside, and, well, Bobby Schwartz, when he gets on these corners, looks like he's on rails. So now Graham switches out to the dirt and on mid-track, then locks back to try and run at the inside of Schwartz. In other words, he's trying every which way to disconcert the American and try to get him guessing from which corner and which angle the attack's going to come from. Having tried the inside, he then swings outside, and you can see that it really was a perfectly timed piece of overtaking. Gets his nose in front, maybe just kidded the American a little that the attack was going to come down the inside, but whatever was going on in their minds, remember they're doing something like 60 miles an hour in these races. It fooled him. Schwartz then has a look to see that Phil Collins still means business, but it really was a superbly timed piece of speedway manoeuvrability from Alan Graham. He caught Schwartz a little bit asleep there. Bobby hangs on to second place, but it really was a memorable win for Alan Graham.
Bobby Schwartz, first of all, what happened? How did you get overtaken?
Well, Gary, I just got beat, you know. I'd say the track's a little bit on the slick side tonight. This isn't my home track. It used to be. I'm just not with it tonight. I really feel that last night I had a bad crash at Birmingham. I was guesting for them, and it seems to have knocked the wind out of me somehow, the wind out of my sails tonight, you might say. I just don't feel strong. I'm not with it. I'm not confident. And you have to have all these things to be a winner. And tonight, I seem to be just doing a job.
What's happened to Reading then? Because under Dave Lanning last season, you were the champions. This season, fallen away very badly, it seems.
Well, we've had a change in the team, and it hasn't helped us any. The team spirit doesn't seem to be there. And I think really Dave Lanning was the key to our success last year. And we're missing that key to our success, so I don't know what to say.
What about your old club then, Cradley? Talk about them for a second or so.
Oh, they're great guys. We're a good bunch of lads. I really enjoy when I was riding for Cradley. I really enjoyed it. I love coming back here all the time. The fans still love me.
You wish you were riding for them now?
Well, yeah, no, you might say. It's hard to. It's a bad question to ask. But every time I come back, the people love me here. I must admit, 80% of my fans are from Cradley. It's a good feeling.
All right, Bobby. Good to see you back here.
Well, thank you, Gary, and it's a tremendous speedway tonight. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's good fun.
Thank you.
Heat 10, 33-21 the scores, and we have on the grid impatient to get into action. There is that score. Cradley surely now have the 2 league points pretty well wrapped up. I can't really see them letting this one slip. As Bent Rasmussen, just back from the Danish Championships when he finished in the upper bracket, won by Ollie Olsen, we gather. So the great Dane from Coventry. Still a fair amount of life left in him, a world finalist, of course. Waiting for Bernie Lee, the rider in white, in heat number 10. That will be the lineup. Husker has only had 1 outing so far, and then he was tactically substituted in his last ride. New boy Pole has been shuttled around a bit this year in British Speedway. It can't be really any good for his kind of morale and confidence. He's on the inside. Next to him, Rasmussen. Grid 3, Bernie Lee. A 3rd place in a fall so far. Not a happy night for good old Bernie. And on the outside, Bruce Pennell. Beautiful picture of him, who, having slipped to Anderson first time out, made no mistakes in his last ride. 5 points so far from the number 1 in the British League averages. And away this time. And again, it is Pennell who hits the front. 2nd place is Rasmussen. And in 3rd place, it is just now. Well, it's absolutely neck and neck as they go to the corner there. It's Pennell in front, no argument about that. 2nd place, Ben Rasmussen. Bernie Lee has won his private dust-up with partner Husker for the odd placing. But this is Cradley in full cry. Really is a well-balanced team here at Cradley. They absolutely devastated Coventry. That really was a surprise. A few weeks ago we saw that on ATV. It must be said that Coventry have recovered well from that disappointment with a cracking win at Wimbledon on Thursday. But it's going to take an awfully good side to catch Cradley Heath in the British League Championship race this year. Ipswich have said they think they can do it. They've just knocked them out of the cup. But maybe that's a blessing in disguise for the Heathens. Bruce Pennell going across the line. He wins it. Second place in Heat 10 was Bent Rasmussen. Third, Bernie Lee. Maximum heat win for the Heathens, and they're galloping away with it now. Well, there's a picture that really sums up Reading's plight this evening. Bobby Schwartz, their warhead, such an explosive attack man for them, looking very pensive. Their meeting really, to all intents and purposes, is all over for them. And Bobby, such a jubilant member of the Reading Championship side last season, looks just a little bit down on his luck. So here we go for heat number 11 with the Reading pairing. Jan Andersson, who has indeed, as expected, been the #1 threat for the Heathens. He'll be in the white helmet colour. He has a total of 7 points from his first 3 starts, with his young partner Ashley Pullen not having a happy night at all. Ashley, no score so far. Here's Andersson from Gothenburg. Previously with Swindon Robbins. He moved across for £10,000 to Reading at the start of the 1979 season. Was their #1 last year in their championship winning year. An expert at indoor speedway. He was the big star of the indoor meetings at the National Exhibition Centre just 18 months ago. Twice the Swedish champion, Jan Andersson. There's the score, all over bar. They're shouting for Cradley. They're going to get these 2 league points now, but Reading will be attaining for some respectability from this fixture. 38-22 the score. On the inside there, David Shields. Grid 2, Ashley Pullen. Grid 3, Eric Gunderson, unbeaten as yet. And on the outside again, his favourite outside grid start, Jan Andersson in the white helmet colour. Heat number 11. Could be a fair battle again between Gunderson and Andersson, the 2 Vikings, and away they go, and Andersson clearly has got the drop, although hasn't Shields got away well. David Shields has got away. Shields leads it, although Andersson tries the outside and gets the better line. Now where is Gunderson? Gunderson must make his effort. He mustn't let Andersson get too far clear, because Jan really goes when he gets a bit between his teeth. Gunderson's up in the 2nd place, and we should have a rare old ding-dong now. Oh, that was a bit ruthless by Andersson. He really didn't allow Gunderson the inside pass. It's hard, but very fair. And Gunderson is a rare battler. It's his lap 3. Left himself with a fair amount of work to do, but he isn't finished by any stretch. There is the battle for Heat 11. Andersson still leading. Gunderson back, trying to find some extra drive around the outside. It's tremendous stuff. Last 2 corners. It's got to come now, if it's going to come at all. And over the line is just Gunderson by our reckoning. Tremendous speedway. Well, it looked like he injured himself in that effort. Eric Gunderson there, who just made his effort along the last 2 corners. Let's just have a look at that again. Well, here's the start. And once again, we see the gating ability of Jan Andersson. There he goes, and it's Gunderson who gets squeezed out as David Shields gets to the corner in front. But Andersson always had the more horsepower here. Down the back straight, he leads it. Shields is in 2nd place. Gunderson knows he mustn't let this very speedy Swede get too far clear. He moves around to challenge. And then we really had a race that developed into a classic. Andersson in front. Gunderson in 2nd place, and he tried him inside right now. He tried the inside run here, and well, very nearly took Andersson's back wheel off. Lost a lot of ground there, as you can see. And at this stage, really, all the clever money was on Jan Andersson, because he was in front, he was making his own line, looking over his shoulder there. He knows he's got Gunderson at the back of him, but it seemed like he had a little bit to spare. But Gunderson, this Dane, member of the Danish World Cup winning squad, doesn't finish doesn't stop trying until the checkered flag. And he really tried to find the outside line here, getting out where the drive is. And as they go into the last lap, this really was 338 metres of absolutely vintage speedway from Erik Gundersen. Around the outside here, Anderson still looks comfortable. And now Gundersen approaches the pit corner and knows he's got to make his effort. And he keeps it all screwed on. A perfectly timed manoeuvre around the outside, a masterpiece of passing, and he clearly has got the drop on the line. Bobby Schwartz, ex-Heathen, key current racer, knows that the Heathens are home and dry here in Heat 12, 42-24. That is the score with just 2 races left. And Boogaloo on the inside here really has a great deal on his plate, because we've got Bruce Pennell and Alan Graham, 2 really formidable opponents, waiting for Bernie Lee from Reading. His teammates looking a bit down at the mouth, it must be said. There's team manager Mick Bell, right of picture, and there is Schwartz looking pensive for the start of Heat 12. He's got Bruce Pennell and Alan Graham to contend with. Pennell's just dropped 1 point to Jan Anderson. Graham has again been a revolution in our television coverage, unbeaten. He was unbeaten, of course, at Coventry just a couple of weeks ago. So Bobby in with partner Bernie Lee here, and these 2 rode together virtually throughout Reading's championship success. The partnership's been split. Debatable as to whether that's been a good move or not. They certainly know each other's style of racing and each other's tactical ploys. So this is going to be the lineup for Heat 12. Bobby Schwartz on the inside in the white helmet. Next to him, Alan Graham, unbeaten, in the blue helmet colour. Grid 3 has Bernie Lee in the yellow and black striped helmet, and on the outside, the American Express skipper of the Heathens, Bruce Pennell, wearing the red helmet. Heat 12, 42-24. And what can Schwartz do about the big 2 Heathens here? Well, it is Pennell again who comes flying out of the outside grid. Schwartz is second. Graham is back in 3rd place, and at the back it is Bernie Lee. There's Pennell. Made an uncharacteristic mistake in his first ride, but now he's winning and looking back. And Graham is trying to dive bomb Schwartz around the line. He'll take a fair bit of shifting. I think the outside run might be a better idea for Alan Graham. It looks like he might have heard me. Well, Pennell really is high, wide and handsome. He seems to have so much to spare, this lad. So confident, he really believes he can win the world final. And who's going to bet against him? Into the last lap. Still the battle for 2nd place rages, with now Graham switching back on the inside of Schwartz. Really would take TNT to switch Bobby Schwartz off the line. There's Pennell. 2nd is going to be Schwartz. Over the line, the Cradley skipper wins it. Schwartz holds on for 2nd place, and Alan Graham back in 3rd, his first defeat of the evening. Well, Jan Anderson here has surely carried the fight to the Heathens. He's had 1 win and 3 2nd places. He has been puffed a bit tonight, which is unusual, but that's just an indication of the form that the Heathens are in at the moment. They really are rampaging. There is the score. It's going to be a crushing victory for the current league leaders. Reading really with only Anderson, Schwartz, and to a lesser degree the battling qualities of Denny Pyatt at reserve, having everything to offer. The lineup for Heat 13. The inside is going to be Erik Gundersen, who indeed is unbeaten at this stage. Next to him, Andres Husker, the pole, in the yellow and black helmet colour. Grid 3 in the blue helmet colour has Phil Collins with 4 points so far. And on the outside, where he really has been a lively handful this evening, Jan Anderson in white for the racers. Heat 13. Inside Gunderson, next to him Husberg. Grid 3 Collins, outside Jan Anderson. Here we go, Heath 30. And this time it was Gunderson who got away, and Anderson switched back under him, but just couldn't find enough horsepower. Collins has moved up into third place. There they are, stretching out down into the first two corners of lap 2, with Gunderson clearly stretching them now. Anderson may have a little bit of pressure on him from Phil Collins. There's Gunderson, showing no effects at all of this ankle injury. It seems to have plagued his weight. He's a tough character, and he's a fine little rider. He really has made some progress this year. Has emerged as a genuine world-class rider, showing us ample proof of that here in Heat 13. This is the last lap. Gunderson, unless something unforeseen happens, is going to go through the card. And Collins is making a big effort around the outside of Anderson, but Anderson just beats him for second place, blurring across the line there. So a 4-2 Heat win to round off another most impressive league performance, and Cradley have run up 50 points. They win by 50 points to 28. So on parade, the triumphant Cradley Heath side, who so convincingly have completely annihilated the Reading Racers, the reigning but waning league champions, by 50 points to 28. There is the final score. 2 more points gathered with consummate ease by the Heathens. And what price them now for this first ever British League Championship? Well, the Black Country fans, they're among perhaps the greatest and most loyal and most dedicated in the whole world of Speedway, have waited an awfully long time for a major honour, and now it looks like they've got one hand on the trophy. Surely nobody is going to catch them unless they run into the most abysmal run of ill fortune and misfortune. The Heathens, I would say, are home and dry. They've got to win perhaps 2 or 3 more away matches. They have some fairly comfortable looking away visits to come, and well, we've seen them